let's bring in Sophie Bussmann-Kemdjo, who is the Regional Director, Africa and Europe at the CT Cancer Challenge. Thanks for joining us, Sophie. From that report and from the program, we saw the WHO data that reveals that in balance, women comprising 70% of health workforce, but leadership role 25%. How does this leadership inclusivity program for women in oncology aim to address this sort of barrier?
We're really looking at a global level and a systemic level. And the way we are introducing it is to make sure that we create a network of women mid-career who are inspiring and emulating other women to take the position. And the reason also why we choose Nigeria as the place to launch the second cohort of the program is the strong testimony and vision and direction that the country is taking. And you can see that this program is really supported by the Federal Ministry of Health at the highest level, and the FCT ministry to support us as a host. So at the Nigerian level, this is a really testimony to say we want Nigeria to be part of the program, because we are solving it at our level, but we want the country to benefit from that visibility that is happening at the global level and the network that the women are having in terms of emulating each other, and then retransmitting this into the policy space based on how this advancement will be happening through the program.
And there's some reports that there's progress, albeit slow, in women's representation in academic medicine, leadership globally, but fields like oncology, the numbers still remain sort of disappointing. What lessons can Nigeria, maybe other African countries, draw from global examples to ensure that more women ascend to leadership roles in oncology? And also, do you think the role of maybe mentorship, how do you envision that working towards this goal?
So I wouldn't say that Nigeria necessarily has to learn from others, because the gender parity is a global issue. So if you take the Western world and the emerging economies, there are even some surprising examples where you will see that women are having more space. And it's just the formal approach of the power to women in terms of being inclusive for an economic growth that will be pushed. But I don't think Nigeria has to learn from other necessarily as lecture, because there are significant efforts that are being made already in the country to have this visibility and exposure in leadership to women. And I think here the learning is really to say, let's have all hands on deck. This program, again, I'm saying it's not that we're bringing the solution. There will be a homegrown solution. The fact that we're launching here is already an acceptance and a testimony that we can have it tackled from Nigeria to the world. And this is really the message. And the women who came here are also amazed to see the strong leadership, women leaders that are already operating in the country. So this is really the main message for us, to say, let's work at a systemic level and make sure that Nigeria is creating its own solution. There is no lecturing or to be given to the country, because there are steps that are being taken.
In the program, the reports that we just played from that program, a speaker highlighted that women bear much of the burden of cancer in Nigeria. So I just wanted to ask how critical, how important is it for women, not just as caregivers, but decision makers, to shape policies and practices in oncology care? What unique perspectives do you believe that women leaders bring to the table in this context?
I think it starts really from the fact that if you have an economy with the two genders that are contributing to the workforce, it's just in order to have as many women as men in the leadership to start with. And usually, it has also been proven that when a woman is a leader, the whole community benefits from it, because I can be challenged for that, but there's a common ground to say women are more of a carer type, so there will be much more inclusivity. And I think also coming to the oncology space, we know that the main recurrence of cancer are women cancer, from breast to cervix, and the women, there is also a stigma first to start, and also going to an oncologist, male oncologist, will make them a bit less comfortable sometimes. So having a woman oncologist handling or nurse oncologist handling these women could also make a difference in terms of how they can actually access the care and also reveal what they are going through, because there are some of the symptoms that could be the reason for them to be ashamed of. So having a woman who understands the women perspective can also be a big factor in terms of allowing to have early presentation, because the late presentation on cancer are also mostly due to the fact that people are not having the courage to speak about it. And from women to women, there is also this ease in terms of conversation.
And one issue cited, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the traditional career pathway in academic and clinical oncology, it's not always conducive for women, right? Women's advancement, particularly when balancing maybe family, professional responsibilities. What sort of approaches have you encountered or might you recommend to modernize some of these pathways?
Yes, so I would say that we are not necessarily going to lecture, but you're right. There are this stumbling block in terms of reconciling all the different roles. What we're also encouraging now through this program at some level also is to introduce some of the leadership skills in the curriculum to make sure that, you know, just an example, now we are starting this second cohort with some of the orientation sessions and in the program, and women are like, we have been going through this process without have been ever taught some leadership skills, and we are sometimes being put into position where we are not. And we know also that women are the one who suffer the most from this imposter syndrome. So some might ask, men didn't have either, but the society may be also creating a space where they have more confidence in getting it. So these are discussions to be had. I think the progress that are being made in terms of supporting women, I was just giving an example. I visited one of the agencies of the government. I was at NICRAT, and there was a woman with her baby who was working. I mean, for me, it was just like, wow, we are already there. It's not like something it is happening. And that baby was there being taken care of by the whole staff. The mom was working. It's not that she was caring for the kids. So I think today we have seen some progressive employer, and they are across the country. They're not just being celebrated enough. We should be celebrating them more to emulate other employers to do the same.
Before I let you go, Sophie, as the Regional Director for Africa and Europe at the City Cancer Challenge, what's your overall vision when it comes to this particular program, Inclusivity for Women? And also, you talked about Nigeria being the second cohort. What are the next steps? What other countries are you going to?
So we are able to be here first and foremost because Nigeria is part of the CCAN network of cities and has been progressing a lot in terms of the engagement process, doing the needs assessment for to understand the ecosystem. That being said, the fact that the women are in the program, we are leveraging this program as part of our gender strategy, which is a strategy where we want to actually introduce a way of giving care from the gender lens, using gender lens in the way the cares are being given in the oncology space. And through that, we will be doing some consultation as part of the strategy that was launched last year to consult and understand what are exactly we co-create. It's not that we're coming to impose with the blueprint. We will co-create with the women in the different cities where we have selected. So we will be in Mexico, we'll be in Georgia, and we'll be in Kenya as well for this year to understand what are the needs and co-create and decide on the next step. But
Great
for
work.
now, the program is really inspiring because these women are going through a 2-year journey. They will be exposed to the leadership platform, and we also have a Nigerian recipient of the program who is representing the country.
Amazing.
So very pleased.
Great work that you're doing. Thank you so much, Sophie
Thank
Bussmann, who's the Regional Director, Africa and Europe City Cancer Challenge.